Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unpack Pittsburgh podcast. My name is Alaina, and today with us we have Gabrielle Payne, a Pittsburgh content creator. Thank you for hopping on with us today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thanks for being on. I got to start by saying your nickname as well. So we're gonna call you Gabie, right? That's what you go by.
Yes, yep, baby with a G. That's right.
S-
I was, I've never met another Gabie or Gabrielle before. Everyone's typically Gabrielle, and I wish I had an interesting or exciting story of why. But I do have a sister who's Danielle, so also similar Ielle. And actually, a funny story too is that we both have the same middle name of being
Oh,
Elizabeth. And so my parents were a fan of like patterns with our names, because similar first names, same middle name. But growing up, I thought that all siblings then had to have the same middle name. So I was always so confused when I would meet other siblings and
Yeah.
they would have different middle names.
that's funny. So, Gabie, why don't
Yeah.
you start by kind of talking about your journey? Because I got like we chatted a little bit before we hit record, and you have kind of a really cool story going from like broadcasting to content creation. So, why don't you kind of start from there? You're from Pittsburgh, I assume. Is that right?
Yeah, so not quite, but close. I'm from
Okay.
Wheeling, West Virginia,
Okay.
and people in Wheeling consider themselves baby Pittsburghers, so because it's our closest city. And so growing up, I always came to Pittsburgh. Like anytime I'd want to see a show, I'm a big theater gal, so always would go see shows at the Benedum or go to the malls. We did not have anything like the malls in Pittsburgh. So, growing up, my mom and my sister and I would always do fun shopping trips in Pittsburgh. And if we'd want to go out to a nice dinner, we'd come up here. So I grew up like always loving Pittsburgh. But yeah, I didn't move here until 2020, actually. I came in during the pandemic, which was, of course, a crazy time to move. But then rewinding a little. So yeah, I majored in broadcast journalism in college. I always loved writing. I loved public speaking. Like I said, I did theater for years. So I was a rare breed that actually like enjoyed public speaking. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but it was something I always loved. So yeah, I became a morning show TV reporter, which was honestly perfect because I love the style of morning show TV. So I was telling you both our show was very similar to Pittsburgh Today live here, but I was based in Dayton, so it was like our morning show in Dayton, Ohio, and it was a blast. I mean, our show was 4 hours long, and it was high energy because on a morning show you have a little more freedom with having more creative segments. It was a lot of like me being out in town interviewing, local restaurant owners, which was always quite funny. Like during restaurant week, we always did segments on the food. And so I'd be eating like a steak for the segment and it'd be like 7 in the morning because we'd always be
Oh,
previewing
wow.
like their menu. So it was funny. We'd always like people I don't think always realized how early it would get. Um, but I did a lot with theater, when shows would come into town, or I had a couple segments of me riding roller coasters because we were close to Kings Island. So when a new amusement ride
Mhm.
would come up, like I'd get to be, the one screaming on air on the roller coaster. So just a lot of really fun segments. I got to cover International Sloth Day, which was a big one because I love sloths. So my producers knew that. So anytime there was anything related to a sloth in town, they'd send me out to cover it. So just a lot
Aw.
of really, really fun segments. But of course, then too, with news, you've got to always cover breaking news too. So, anytime there was a fire or, the SWAT team was out and about, we'd cover that. So of course there was, politics and just all of the breaking news that would happen. And so, and I unfortunately, was in Dayton in 2018 when there was a big mass shooting. So it just, being at a young age, that was a wild experience, of course. I mean, just to be feeling the devastation that the entire city was going through, but then also being the one to report on it with the microphone and with the camera. And so it was definitely a time when I grew a lot as a person and just learned a lot. And so definitely a difficult experience, but one that I think really helped shape a lot of people in the town at the time. Um, but then just through that also, I think my biggest takeaways that I loved about news were getting to meet people, getting to connect with local businesses and interview them. I think that's one of the most special things I think about people is that everybody has a story, which I'm sure you both have learned from having your podcast,
Sure.
right? Like
Oh, yeah.
everybody's got a story to tell, and uncovering that, getting to know people is so special and fulfilling. And so loved that side of news, but just knew it's a difficult lifestyle. Like I give reporters and anchors so much credit because what people don't see are just the long hours that go into it. Being a morning show reporter meant I had to wake up every day by 2 a.m, Monday through Friday, and being, early 20s at the time, that was definitely a lifestyle adjustment. I'd go to bed by like 6 or 7 p.m. to be able to wake up that early. So that was a little tricky, and just knew it was, it's a tricky lifestyle. And so I made the switch over from news to working in marketing and working in public relations. And it's been an awesome switch because I feel like I got to take a lot of like my favorite aspects of news and carry it over. So that's been really exciting, but definitely getting a normal alarm clock again has been really nice too. But it made the transition then into content creation really nice and easy because I was a reporter. I did all of my filming and editing. Like sometimes I'd have a cameraman, but a big part of reporting too is you film your own packages, you edit them. So already had those skills. So it made it really fun for me to then transfer those over into content creation. So yeah, that brings me, I've worked several jobs in marketing agencies. I've worked in social media since then. And now I am full-time with doing social media for content creation purposes for businesses. And that's been really awesome. I'm lucky to like exist in this time period where that is able to be a full-time job. And then I also do social media management for the School of Education at Duquesne, which I just found out Alaina's sister is a student there too, and we've worked together.
Yes.
So yeah, working on campus has been a lot of fun.
It does sound fun. I wanted to ask, so at what point in your career did you realize like content creation was a path you could take? And when was that moment you're like, whoa, that seems fun. Like, I think I want to do that.
Yeah, so it was definitely like a slow journey for me because being on TV and being a reporter, I'd built up a following of, viewers that would tune in because a lot of our viewers on TV would also follow us on social media. And then I got out of the business and I was like, okay, I have this following here. Could I make this now still something I continue posting? Like, it's not going to be the same as it was where I'm posting about news. And I moved away from Dayton. I moved here to Pittsburgh, so I just kind of got into, I've always loved like photography. I kind of dabbled with having a blog in college. And so I've just always also loved fashion and just being creative with content. So I kind of just started it like, I remember my mom and I were on a trip. We went to Savannah, Georgia, which is just such like a photogenic city in general. And I had a really nice camera from my days of being a reporter. And so she took some pictures for me around the city and I posted them on my page, and I just fell in love with just the idea of, doing photography, showcasing kind of my Instagram's kind of become its own blog version, right? Because I know blogs still exist. There's still a lot of bloggers out there, but it's kind of been fun to like showcase different things I love and aspects of life on Instagram. So that's kind of how it started out, was me just truly posting for fun, showcasing different things I loved. And then a couple months into doing that is when I got my first offer for like a paid collaboration. And I remember just being floored, being like, what? Like, I could make money doing this too? It was still so new to me to think that that was a possibility. So that was about 2 years ago was when that happened. And it was fun. I just balanced it with my full-time jobs at the time and continued doing that up until about a few weeks ago, which is when I had quite a few reoccurring clients I was working with, was getting new business from brands to do content for them, and was like, let's take the plunge. Let's take this full time now. And so that's been really cool, is getting to have that moment to now do it full time, because it truly is something I love so much.
Well, congratulations. That's great. I'm going to steal one of Alaina's questions, I'm sure, but what is like one of your favorite collaborations that you've kind of done so far?
Yes. Oh my goodness. There's honestly been a lot. I've been grateful to have some awesome partners, but I'd say one of my favorites, I've had this a couple times, was getting to collaborate with like a hotel on a trip.
Mm.
Actually, probably my favorite. I had one that was in New York City that was amazing because I love New York. I lived there for an internship in college, fell in love with the city, and my husband and I got to go together and just have that full trip experience. So that was really, really fun. It was right in Times Square, beautiful hotel. So that was really exciting. And then another one that I absolutely loved was with the Columbus, Ohio Tourism Board. And
Okay.
that was so cool because I personally love Columbus too. And so does my husband. We have family there. So we've grown up going there a lot. But the tourism board planned out our entire weekend for us. Like the
Wow.
restaurants we'd go to, the activities we would do. We went to the art museum, we went to the botanical garden. It was Christmas time. So they had all these cool Christmas shops. And that was so much fun because it was like getting to just go to a new city and just like not have to do any of the planning but get to experience it the way that they wanted us to, with like going to their favorite places. So that one was hard to beat. That was really, really fun.
That's excellent.
Yeah, very cool.
So,
What
what is your favorite type of content to create?
My favorite type, it's been really fun because it's like a newer favorite of mine because I've always loved getting to do like, clothes styling, giving ideas about, a brand might give me a couple outfits and I could show people ideas of how I would style it. So that's always been a favorite. But I partnered recently with, they're called Evite, and it's basically a site that creates like online digital invitations for parties. And
Mhm.
so a lot of their content is like idea based and DIY based. So they basically were like, we want to have content for Valentine's Day and the Super Bowl. And then that gave me
Ooh.
like the creative freedom to think like, okay, what would people like about, related to these? So like for the Super Bowl, I'm a major girly girl. My husband loves the Cleveland Browns. I'm sorry. He's a Cleveland guy, so not a Steelers
I
fan,
don't
but he's
watch
always
football, so
okay,
Oh
good. So
my
you're
gosh,
you're okay with it.
I'm leaving this podcast.
I'm sorry. I know he took down his Cleveland Browns flag recently. We had it up in the neighborhood, and I was like, oh no, we're
Oh,
not going to get many
jeez.
friends. But I've grown to like football watching with him. But I also am a major Swiftie, so of course, like this has been
Mhm.
our year to
Ah,
shine. So
Yeah.
what I had, and I've got a lot of like 20s and 30-year-old girls and women that follow me. So I was like, okay, what would be cool for them related to the Super Bowl? So I got this idea of basically taking a football, and it was only a $9 football. I feel like people are panicking that
Mhm.
I cut a football, but it's okay. It was an inexpensive one. If you're gonna leave the podcast before, you probably want to now too. But basically, I took the football and cut off one side of it, and believe it or not, it makes the perfect flower vase. Like you just kind of put a glass in it, you just slide it on into the football, add a bouquet, boom, great Super Bowl
wow.
centerpiece idea.
That is such a
So
cute idea.
yeah, it was fun. And then that kind of was, I loved filming content like that because I was like, it let me like kind of brainstorm a fun idea, get to think of something outside the box and film a DIY, which I think is such helpful content for people because I know personally I use Instagram and Pinterest and TikTok like a search engine when I'm looking for ideas. So it was fun to like have an idea where I knew it could, kind of help people and inspire them to do something fun.
That's great. What are some of your favorites? So this is the show's called Unpack Pittsburgh podcast, where we unpack the people, the places, products, and events that make Pittsburgh so amazing. What are some of like your restaurants, your coffee shops, your bars, your attractions around the city that you really like?
Ooh, I love this question because I am such a foodie and I think Pittsburgh has such great food places, great restaurants, and I'm honestly such a Pittsburgh super fan. So,
Nice.
I would say, okay, let's break it down because I'd say if we're going by like brunch, cafe, I'm a Mediterra girl. I love
Okay,
Mediterra.
Yes.
that's a good
Right
spot.
now,
Me too.
on their menu right now, they have a honey rose latte. I just had this the other day, and it
Wow.
was one of the Mediterranean also has delicious food, but they also have beautiful food. So it like had everything
Mhm.
going, which I think from a marketing perspective is
It's
genius because
genius.
it it markets itself. Like, it's the same with acai bowls. Like, somebody gets it, they're going to take a picture. Like, the phone's going to eat first, like, and they're going to post about it. So it's perfect, you know? So cafe and brunch wise, love Mediterra. Also love Urban Taps brunch. Oh, my husband and I used to live by their Shady Side location, and they have a phenomenal brunch. Also really love Ritual House, has a great brunch, and their
That's a
brunch
good
is
one.
also like an experience. Like when I was there, we were there for a bachelorette party, and there were you know, flames going, and I was like, I feel like we're at like Cirque du Soleil or something right now. Like it's like an activity in itself. Italian, this is actually a little hidden gem that I love. I don't know if they're a hidden gem, but they're not. I know it's not a hidden gem, but it's hidden for being good for pasta. Is Emerson's downtown. It's also just
You're talking about the top floor? Like,
yes,
is that's the one right by Market Square, right?
Yes, yep.
It is
right
hidden.
in
I would
Market
say
Square.
it's totally hidden.
Okay, you're right. So I'm a little nervous now because, yeah, don't all go at once. But Emerson's is also just so swanky. Like, I feel like if someone wants to impress a first date, take them to Emerson. Like, it's just great. They have fantastic mixologists there. So, like, the craft cocktails are all so good. But on their menu, literally every time you're there, you're going to need to get the biscuit. It's a homemade cornbread biscuit with, like, this blackberry jam. It is perfection. And then their penne vodka is just incredible. Jeez. So it's like, it's not a place known for Italian, and I'm kind of an Italian food snob. Like, I want it to be amazing
so
pasta.
So is Alaina's family.
Yes. Oh, I bet. Are you Italian, Alaina?
Yes.
Yeah, so you know good pasta. I'm not Italian, but I grew up with a dad who makes amazing Italian food. So I feel like he instilled that on me. So the penne vodka from Emerson is incredible. So them, and then tacos. We got to talk Mexican. Bull River taco. So good. Wow. Have you two ever been before?
Were there multiple locations? I feel like there was one in 51 in Pleasant Hills for a minute.
Yeah.
Or like right there in Baldwin.
I live right by that one actually, because I'm in like the South Hills area over there, and it's great. It's a little. I don't know if all of their locations are, but it's a walk up. Like you can't sit down any, but oh my goodness, their tacos are incredible. Anytime like I have out of town guests come in that are coming over, just friends coming in like over, you know, to our house, I'm always getting Bull River taco because it's gonna impress and it's gonna make everyone so happy. And then also Thai food is a big favorite of mine, and this one is such a hidden gem, but I will release it. Smiling Banana Leaf in Highland Park is the best Thai food in the world.
Me either.
Oh, it's so good. And it is also a walk up. Like there's no dine in, but it is always packed. And that's when you know it's good, is if they're just takeout only and they're still always packed. But it's so good. So those are probably the top ones that would come to mind for me.
I recently actually, so Jimmy, Alaina's brother, he's a content creator as well, and he focuses on the Italian space. So he's the connoisseur for sure. But I just recently went and saw him DJ in the Southside, and I never go there ever. So I Ubered from my place.
It's an experience.
It is. I live in the Strip District, so I Ubered over, and I had time, and I went to Pittsburgh Pokey, I think was the name of it. And I have to admit, it was fantastic. I was like, I got a nice poke bowl, real easy right there. It felt good. I enjoyed it. If you're into poke, I would add that to the list.
I've never had poke, but that's another one that it
ever in your life?
Itself. Never. No.
Oh my goodness. We might need to do like Unpack on the road here. We need to take you to get some pokey.
Unpack Pittsburgh pokey. That could be our theme. Isn't it another one though? Because I want to try it, because it's another one that markets itself. I feel like the bowls always look so beautiful too. Yeah. Like same with ramen bowls. Like, because I've had ramen for sure, but never poke. Now poke is like, it's raw, right? It's raw like sushi on the in the bowl.
Yeah.
Well,
it's delicious. Honestly, you gotta try it.
I'm gonna try it. I was never a big sushi fan because I was a little nervous, but I became adventurous. Sushi's actually amazing. On that trip when I was in Columbus, one of the restaurants they had us go to, the chef had come from Nobu, which is like top tier sushi. So I was like, gonna get something else, not sushi, but I was like, no, I have to get sushi. Like, if this is the top guy,
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
try it. And so got it, and of course, like, fell in love with it. So now I'm always wanting sushi. So I recently went to Gaijin too. That was another really good one.
Oh yeah,
Downtown, so good.
it's
But
fantastic.
but
That's my
and
favorite. Like
Pokey's
of
gotta be
Pittsburgh, that
next
would
on
be
my
the
list.
best. That would
Oh
be the best
yeah,
in Pittsburgh. It's over the top. From an experience standpoint, they have
yes,
custom drinks. It was just, but it's very, very hard to
yeah.
get into
That'd
sometimes.
be
So.
another one where you're like, if you really want to impress your date, take them to Gaijin. But you'd probably have to
Yeah,
know it can't be like a last minute date because you have to
yeah,
book
you got
out
to
pretty far
plan.
in
You have to
advance.
plan for sure.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, yeah, they're so good. All of Richard Deshante's places in Pittsburgh are like so good. I have a friend that she is a bartender and a manager with Gaijin, and
Okay,
like she also hops around. She's done meat and potatoes and
it's a good
Sally
spot too.
Ann's, which also I love Sally Ann's in Pittsburgh too. But yeah, see, we have so many good places in Pittsburgh. Like I feel like we're not short on great places to eat,
Definitely not my opinion. I
which we're
just
lucky for. Bring it
once the
on.
weather warms up too, a lot more people go out and the energy and the vibes are really nice. Like I live in the Strip District, like I said, and there was a nice warm day, and it felt like it was like a summer. Everybody was out. They closed the streets. It was awesome. So
Oh yeah, a
energy.
Midwestern day too. Like right now, I think it's 60 outside today, and I was just like,
That
oh my
is
gosh, I was rolling down my windows. I was blasting music. I was like, this is amazing. Oh my gosh, for the Midwest, it's like as soon as it like hits above 50, we're like, I could go tanning out here. It's so warm because we're not used to it.
yeah.
In the South, they're probably like chilly if it's 50 or 60, but not here. It feels so good.
Yeah.
I saw you were at Love Boutique today. Was that today on your story?
Yes,
We did
yes,
a
they're so
podcast there.
cute.
Yeah, it's so cute. They're awesome there.
I
Are
love
there
all
any
of their
other
stuff.
yeah, are there any other Pittsburgh boutiques that you like?
Yes. Reb and Rune is a new
That's a new one,
absolute
right?
favorite of mine. Yeah, it's brand new, and the owner, Bree, she is wonderful. I didn't know her before she opened the boutique, but we've worked together on collaborating since then, and I just adore her. She's great. They had their grand opening this past weekend. And it was great. It was so fun to see. Like, I love the Lawrenceville Market. That's where her boutique has their in-shop store. Have
Oh,
either of
okay.
you been over there?
Is it on Butler or where?
Yeah, yep, right on Butler.
Oh, I'll have
Do you
to
know where
check.
like Oliver's Donuts
Yes.
is?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so her store just opened up like right next to Oliver's. So it's in
Oh,
that
I'll have to check
area
it
too.
out. I go on Butler because that's where I like to run. So I go down to the
Yes.
cemetery and I come back to the Strip. So I'll have to
Oh
check
yeah,
it
check
out.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fun. I love that marketplace, and I feel like it's been amazing. I mean, some of my favorite stores, honestly, in Pittsburgh are all in that marketplace. They've got so
Mhm.
many cool places, and it's fun being there on a weekend too when it's packed because it's just like you feel that support of like people coming together supporting local businesses. It's just awesome, and yeah, so I love them. I also love Apricot Lane Boutique on Walnut in Shady Side. They're wonderful. I got to work with them on their bridal collection. I just got married this past summer here in Pittsburgh. And
Congratulations.
so thank you. It was at the Carnegie Art Museum, which
Ooh.
if anyone is listening looking for a wedding venue, it was so beautiful. My husband and I are not artists. I mean, he's actually he can sketch really well. For being as like much of, I consider myself like a creative person. I have no drawing abilities at all. But yeah, it was so fun to have our wedding here in Pittsburgh. And there's just so many great vendors here too in Pittsburgh for weddings. And like Berg Brides does such a great job
Yep.
too of covering them. And so yeah, that was really special. But yeah, we're lucky. I feel like to have so many good boutiques. Number 14 is great. Hazel Gray, love all of their clothes. I feel like we have so many good ones.
That's cool. I'm gonna ask a kind of offbeat question, but so Alaina is a senior in West Virginia University, and
Oh
she's
yes.
gonna be doing some internship stuff, like a project with Unpack, and we're gonna try to get a fashion show together this year. So we've never really planned something like this before, but one of our departments, so we have real estate, food and beverage, sports, and then of course fashion. So we're going to try to create a small to medium sized fashion show of all the local Pittsburgh boutiques, content creators. We would like to have vendors for food and beverage. And so we're really trying to put that together. So if you heard of an event that we were doing, what is a must thing that we would have to get someone like you to be like, oh my God, I have to go?
I mean, I'm sold already. You were speaking my language. I mean, where do I sign up?
Yeah.
I honestly, seriously, everything you just said, I'm so excited for. My mouth was like open the whole time you were explaining it. I was in awe. No, that's so great. I love that. And I think that oh my gosh, I think that that's something that like you said, we're really known for our food scene. I think here is amazing. There's a lot of great foodie bloggers too that cover it. And so I would love to support like seeing more fashion being a big part of what people are talking about in Pittsburgh, because I do think we have incredible boutiques, but I do think they're all pretty siloed. Whereas it sounds like what I love about what you're talking about is seeing them come together and having it be this big moment, like, you know, to talk about the fashion scene in Pittsburgh, which I do think we have a great, you know, collection of boutiques. So gosh, I think honestly, I mean, you don't have to convince me anymore. I'm already sold into doing it, but I think highlighting it in that way, that like this is a great collaboration of the amazing boutiques in Pittsburgh, and talking about it being like a spotlight of the Pittsburgh fashion scene, I think would be really appealing to people. So I think that having that angle would get a lot of people excited.
Excellent.
Thank
Well,
you
that's
for
I'm
that
excited.
input.
All right,
Yeah.
there's more motivation.
Yay.
Eh? Get on it.
Yes. I got excited that you are at WVU, Alaina, too, because I pretty much am the lone warrior of my entire extended family to go to an Ohio school, because everybody else in my family went to West Virginia University, and I still have family there now. So I love the Mountaineers too. I've been to the campus many times, and it's such a good school.
Yay. Yeah, I love it. I graduate in May, so I'm almost done.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, my cousin actually, he started a magazine in West Virginia. It's called YNST, You're Not Seeing Things. And he went to WVU too and started this magazine talking about like kind of the amazing things that Appalachia's doing with fashion, with the arts.
Oh.
It's all about that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's because he's from WVU, so I was like, you two might know each other because it's, you know, but I love that he is doing that for Appalachia's, like spotlighting fashion there too. So that's been really cool to like cheer him on with creating that. And that's why I think podcasts like what you're doing here are so important. And it's a big reason why I loved doing reporting and now doing content creation, right? Is just the storytelling aspect of it and talking to people, figuring out what they love, their passions, and having other people like get inspired by that, I think is such a cool part about media in general.
So before we close off here, I have a question that I always like asking. What do you want to be known for?
Ooh, shoot, that is a good question. What do I want to be known for? That's such a good question, because I think being known too, just being known itself is so powerful. So, right, if you're going to be known, you want to be known for something that you feel like is like, you know, relatable and authentic to who you are, like that you feel like, okay, that is a part of me, rather than it being like known for something where you're like, that's not me, right? So I think that's also why it's so important to stay true to yourself. But then of course, like wanting it to be something that is special and something you're proud of. So I would say for me, I have always been someone that like is all about empowering other people and just creating a warm space for people to get to know people. I think that that's so important. My time as a reporter too, I learned that that was a big thing, was knowing when I'd go into an interview with meeting someone, I knew that the interview would be totally different if that person felt comfortable and if that person felt accepted and felt like I was a friendly person to them. You know, it made them interact with me differently. And so I've always tried to be that type of person where I want to be warm and friendly to everybody, you know, to give kindness to everyone right off the bat, because you never know how much that will make someone's day or go a long way. And just, I've always tried to keep it real with people too and be my genuine self. And so I'd say those are two things I'd love to be known for, is just being someone that could be a light to other people and making them feel, you know, like they could shine brighter too. I think that's a special thing, is that just because we can be a light doesn't mean we take away or dim someone else's. You know, I'm a big believer that when you give and radiate positivity to someone, then they can radiate that back and radiate it on to others. So I'd say those would be things that are really important to me that I hope people think of when they think of me too.
That was one hell of an answer. That was great. That was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Your authenticity shines, no doubt. Like, you are you. And I mean, that sounds silly to say, but you know, we've had some people, and you know, we talk to a lot of people, and you do get the sense sometimes they're trying to be something and like maybe like projecting it out there. But you're just a light, and that's awesome. And we're so
Yeah,
thankful
you
that you
can
were
just
on
feel
here.
your energy.
Thank you. That makes my day, honestly, hearing you both say that. So thank you so much.
We'll definitely have to do another thing, whether it be later down the road when we get the fashion stuff, fashion show going, or if there's any events that we're doing. But yeah, your personality and your energy is very rarely does someone make me look like I'm quiet and tired. So I appreciate your energy and
Yeah.
your talkativeness, and it's fantastic. So I'm so glad Alaina was able to set this up, and this was fantastic. And I'm sure there's so much more. 30 minutes goes by so fast. Um, we do sometimes do an in-person one. So if if all the stars align when Alaina's back from West Virginia, if you're still in Pittsburgh and I'm in town, it would be great to maybe do something and feature a local business in the background and take it from there. So
Yeah, let's do it. Seriously, anytime. I would love that. And please let me know how I can be involved in the fashion show too. I mean, I would be honored to like be a part of it and get to bring that to the city. That sounds amazing what you're doing. What a cool
Yay.
internship, Alaina, too. Like that sounds like an
Yes.
internship I would want to do. It's
You
really
know,
awesome.
I'm lucky I ended up with this, because I needed
I
one
know,
for my
seriously.
major anyways, required to graduate, so got lucky.
Right. Yeah, no, this is definitely this is a keeper for sure. Honestly, I think getting to meet people, getting to connect with people, talk to people is like a true life experience builder that you can apply to any job. Like being able to
1000%.
have those skills, that's so key, I think, to anything you do in life. So yeah, this is definitely a good path that you're on here.
Yes.
Excellent. Go ahead. You want to wrap it?
Well, that's the end of our episode. Thank you for joining us. This was such a fun episode. And until next time.